You're listening to NXT Report on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. My name is Arya Whitner, and this is the NXT Report for Wednesday, November 2, 2016. I just got to say that today was a very, very long day for me. But what better way to end it than with 57 minutes chock full of the most consistently well-booked show in the WWE Universe. So we kicked the show off with Charlie Caruso giving us updates on the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, which is pretty much just to say that all 4 round 2 matches would happen tonight. 2 of the matches took place at the NXT House Show in San Jose, and, 2 quote-unquote quote-unquote 2 matches took place in Full Sail. Kicked things off with what was supposed to be TM61 versus Austin Aries and Roderick Strong. Aries came out in street clothes and announced that he was unable to wrestle due to his injury from the match with Shinsuke Nakamura, and Aries encouraged TM61 to forfeit, but instead out came Mr. Regal, who confirmed that yes, Aries was injured, but instead of waiting a week to do the match next week, he announced that one member of TM61 would face Roderick Strong, and the winner's team would advance. And after some debate, it turned out it was going to be Shane Thorne that did this match. And we were informed, by the way, and this was one of the funniest parts of the show, this match had a little graphic in the corner saying this match was previously recorded. And the funny part, of course, being that NXT is always previously recorded. And they've never mentioned it before now, except that time that Cesaro retroactively defended the United States title he had already lost. Strong and Thorne, this was a really good match. Strong and Thorne at one point fought on the top rope. Strong laid him out with a backbreaker on the top rope, which I should point out looked 10 times better than when Charlotte and Sasha Banks did it. Thorne hit the Alberto Del Rio double foot stomp from the top rope, which led to the fans chanting CCC. Thorne had the match won with a sit-out powerbomb, but Aries had distracted the referee. Miller went after Aries, but Strong hit a baseball slide dropkick on Nick Miller, and when Strong turned around, Shane Thorne used a small package and pinned Roderick Strong. Next week is the official contract signing for Samoa Joe and Shinsuke Nakamura to NXT TakeOver Toronto. I feel like they do a lot of contract signings. Next up in the Dusty Rhodes Classic, what is supposed to be a rematch from NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, DIY versus The Revival. Back at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, they had the best match of the night and probably one of the best matches of the weekend. Scott Dawson came out on crutches. Is everyone injured on this show? Anyway, Dawson claims to have suffered a possible career-threatening knee injury, and his doctor told him that if he was a jamoke like Ciampa or Gargano, he wouldn't be able to wrestle. But since Dawson is a man, all he has to do is take 2 ibuprofen. However, Dawson announces that in order to prevent an even bigger injury, the Revival is dropping out of the tournament, saving DIY the embarrassment of tapping out to the Revival yet again. So DIY, Gargano, and Ciampa defeat the Revival via a forfeit. Not mentioned by the announcers is the fact that, that they were actually forfeiting, unlike Austin Aries, who, wanted to have a 2-on-1 handicap match. And that's why we had our first match, but not our second match. Cedric Alexander said Andrade Cien Almas taught him you need to be vicious and have a mean streak. And he'd like to thank Almas in the ring anytime, any place. Someone is returning. They didn't bother to tell us who. They just told us he is returning. So great. We'll find out who he is. I'm sure it's great. Gargano and Ciampa were backstage when Dasha flew in from out of nowhere to ask what they were thinking. Gargano and Ciampa said it reinforced what they were going to do. They're going to win the Dusty Rhodes Classic and then win the NXT Tag Team Championship. In another second-round match of the Dusty Rhodes Classic, the Authors of Pain defeated No Way Jose and Rich Swann. Jose started the match by dancing, which frustrated Akeem, which led to Hurricanrana on Akam, which was the biggest offensive maneuver hit on the Authors of Pain so far. Rich Swann fared well against Razor until he got caught by both men outside the ring, but it's okay because Jose dove off the top rope onto the pile. The AOP finally cut off Swann, and that was it for poor Rich. To show his worry, actually, for the first time ever, Paul Ellering felt he needed to cheat, choking Swann on the ropes behind the referee's back. Like all good tag team matches, we got a hot tag. Jose tagged in and showed that his offense was just as effective against two people as it is against one. Jose actually gave Akam a TKO at one point for a near fall. However, Jose got cut off and hit with the last chapter, and the AOP move on. Now, unlike last year where they had both the semifinals and the finals on the same night, this year they're only doing the finals, so the semifinals are going to be next week. We got a Mickie James video package to build to her facing Asuka at NXT TakeOver. And then we got the main event, another second-round match in the NXT Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, as Sanity took on Kota Ibushi and the former WWE Cruiserweight Champion TJ Perkins. Now, you might recall in their last match, I noted that TJ Perkins did not come out with the championship belt. He wasn't announced as champion. And was it a tip-off as if he would lose on Sunday? Well, it may have been a tip-off because Perkins lost, and here he is in a match that was previously recorded and wasn't wearing the belt. As with the first round, it is Alexander Wolf and Sawyer Fulton representing Sanity. I want to point out that my spell check hates every time I've got to type Sanity because it's capital S, capital A, lowercase NIT, capital Y, and every time I type that out, they automatically give the A lowercase. Both cruiserweights look good here against their larger foes. Perkins at one point put Wolf in the knee bar. Wolf tagged out to Fulton, who got in the ring and got trapped in a knee bar of his own. The shine actually went on through the commercial break and into the second half of the match. Ibushi hit the triangle moonsault, but Perkins got caught on his dive and slammed onto the ring apron, which, by the way, the ring apron is the hardest part of the ring. Alexander Wolf was really hungry during the heat, so he chewed on the middle rope and then the tag rope while waiting to be tagged in. Wolf put his knees up at one point for a Sawyer Fulton body slam, but Perkins got out of the body slam and dropped Fulton face first onto his partner, making the hot tag. Ibushi hit the Golden Star Powerbomb, but Eric Young distracted the referee. And then, in the most shocking thing to happen since Charlotte beat Sasha Banks in Boston, Wolf pinned Kota Ibushi with their double team slam. That was unexpected. So that does it for this week. I want to thank everyone for listening, and I'll talk to you again in 7 days.